Okay, everybody. It's Jay Takashi here. How are you doing today? Or more so, how you doing this night? Yeah, I'm here to do like a pre-Thanksgiving stream, to do a little topic and then maybe like, a few questions anybody might ask me, the people who I invite on. But I'm here to like, give my thoughts on this topic that I came up right out of my head like about literally 5 hours ago. Something that I wanted to do, a little conversation before we get into a big dinner tomorrow. And plus, before I go back to work the day after. So give me a quick second to let people in. Hold on. Copy. All right, hold on. Yeah, is anybody who's hearing any background in there? Yeah, I got family visiting our place. You know, yeah, I got family visiting. So yeah, for the most part, me and my friends, and they got a couple of people over. So yeah, family. Um, but yeah, like I said, basically, just got family over. Um, Yeah, but like I said, despite all that, let's get into the topic that I put up fourth hand. I'm gonna get on that topic in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna get started with this. Hmm. Hmm. All right, 2 more minutes and we'll get started. And then just getting little things ready right now. Hold on a second. Okay, everybody, the link is in the chat. Come in if you want. We're I'm gonna get some things started. Um, all right, time to begin. Does love matter in a relationship? This is a question I've been thinking about for a while, and it wasn't until recently that this particular idea didn't pop up back into my head like today when I was working, and I was wondering, does love matter in a relationship? Should it be the main driving force for all for why the relationship should work, or should it be the main, or should it be the primary? Should it be the primary root of everything? And the reason why I pose that question to you because some people think love matters, but it's not the most. I mean, love matters, but it's not the crucial important thing. But then I also get answers like, listen, they'd be like, if I vibe with her, if we love each other, then yes, it's necessary. And then also you get the like, the real like hard asses will literally tell me like, listen, bro, if we're talking about, you said we're going for marriage or just being in a relationship, it's that's more. He said I think that's more prevalent for a marriage. Relationship, that's debatable. That's what I hear. Those are really the main three things I always hear. And I think, but now within regards to that, for me, it's kind of looking at it very weirdly because, on one sense, I would say there needs to be a spark of romance within a relationship, at least from both people, at least. And sorry, I'm looking to the right, some time clock. But the reason why the reason why I say that is because I think it is necessary within a relationship. If you guys are trying to build towards something really great, your love can't get stale when whenever you guys venture off and get married, it can never get stale at the beginning or within the marital stage. I do believe that, but at the same time, because there's things that he's doing and there's things that you're doing, but also it's like how do you divide the time to do that? Do you make a schedule? Do you guys, like I said, you guys spontaneous, or is it wherever whenever? I know spontaneous is kind of like wherever whenever when I say that, but or is this kind of like whenever you have the need for the itch for it? And I think and I think in terms of what's like superficial in the sense, I'd assume you want you the man, us guys, the lady with the woman always wants us in order. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about my words. The woman would like for you to always initiate, you know, the the romantic progress more often than not. Now there are times where she can start it, if she feels the need to like, you want to hang on her man, cuddle you shoulder to shoulder, just her being intimate, like yeah, she can definitely start that. I said instigate. She can nearly initiate the contact process, but also women would like it when men do it more often than not because for them that's one of their turn-ons. At least what I've come to experience more often than not because I've been a primary hitter of doing that to a lot of my past relationships that I've been in. So it's definitely something that I think is a necessity. But but the reason why, like I said, I want to talk about it so much is I wonder if is it really the main focus of what you want in a relationship, or do you want, I mean, relationship going into a marriage? That's why I say doesn't matter because a lot of people can have love, but not have no money and no structure, no foundation for what they're trying to do, and they're just thought. They're just in love with the idea. I mean, they're in love with the thought of it. Oh, hold on. But wait, somebody just touched me. But like I said, primary cause, secondary cause, or all of the above. That's what I pose. And I think as we, as like, the years go on and women and men realizing that, we can just, have this, just have the body on body contact, which is sex in of itself, think that love is not really necessary. Some do want it and some do not want it. But are you part of the few that want it, that do want the love and relationship, or are you part of the few that just want the sex and that's pretty much it? Because I think that says more to you about what type of person you are if you just want the sex, more so not. Give me, give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. Just trying to get some people in. But like I said, it depends on what you're like seeking. If you're looking for short term or long term, I would say for long term, I would say love does matter in a sense, of like whether you, like I said, whether you and that person vibe slash connect on a either spiritual level, on a physical level, or aka I guess the superficial level you guys connect. And what I mean by superficial, it's just all, it is it's sex and sex, nothing more to it. But I particularly don't see that connecting, but it's just superficial. That's why I always say that. That's just in of itself what the self gratification that you both want from each other. Like fuck buddies, whatever you want to go for, the whole nine. But like I said, we need to think in terms of what what uh what we're going to create, what are we going to do, and how is this going to benefit us in the long run. You can, like I said, you can have all of that idea, but I guess if there's no spark between the two of you, then it's like doomed to fail. I would say it's doomed to fail. It's just going to be, well, you just we see each other, we talk to each other, but there's nothing really close to us, and this is more of a just a contract than it is, you know, exactly what it is, a contract. But I think what gets me the most, I think, is because it's not it's not like you you can't ever have a relationship. You can. And like I said, it depends on your significant. It depends on the both of you. Like I said, do you vibe? Do you chill? Do you guys have any type of symmetry together that attracts you to the other person? Because because I guess guys for us we're very physical. The physical aspect gets us, but I guess for me more so in my mind it's physical and mental. I guess if a girl can like pique my interest in a sense, then I'll start like paying a little bit more attention to her. But off rip, it's just more so I'm more so analyzing you off rip whenever we're talking and like whenever we're having a date. It's something that I'm always gonna be like in the midst of. Hold on. Awesome. Sorry about that. Freaking family. Okay. But no. Um like I said, this is gonna be something that we're forever gonna probably be trying to figure out within the US is because like I said, everything here is a me mentality. I don't think a lot of ladies and men are actually looking for that. Men they men um can't speak for everybody, but at least the majority of the guys that I know, they they only get together with girls that they vibe with. And like I said, today I agree because it's like if we can't connect or vibe on anything, then we're kind of just wasting our time. Both of us wasting each other's time. So there's not really no point to continue this or give it any fruit because there's no fruit, no ripe in the fruit. More so. So no, this is not gonna work out. So let's go separate ways. Simple enough. Or if like I said, or they could just be simple physical relationship. Just a physical relationship, which I don't co-sign personally. But let's see. Okay, that's my little thought on the matter. I mean, there's further variables to explore, but I'm thinking, but not thinking. I guess, like I said, humans are never truly satisfied about for what they are never truly satisfied by what they have because they always want the ability to have more. Because that's kind of like in our instinctual nature to actually want more things more often than not. Um, at least well, how modern day society is now. A lot of ladies just want, just want and want and want and want and want. Men, I think we're satisfied with getting certain things. Not all of us, would I say. Like I said, I'm gonna say the majority of us are kind of satisfied getting certain things that we work our tail off for because hard work and achievement it means a lot to us. But in terms of us, you know, and settling a partner, I'm trying to like I said settling on us trying to settle to get a partner. Um, what we look for. We're looking for if we can connect to you, if we can vibe with you, if if you are all the things, if you are all the things that we like, but also an extra like as Kevin Sanders said, you want got to tingle you, but at the same time for us, I think it's a little bit different. If you're just a breath of fresh air to be around, we'll start hearing you out. But I guess like after day one, because technically day one is an interview. I call dating an interview. And the reason why I say it's an interview is because you are just now getting because you are getting to know each other. That should be the that should be the first thing when you go on a date. You both introduce yourselves, and then you explain more about yourselves, and then little by little you explain. You don't go on a whole freaking tangent about you, but you go Sorry about that, guys. But you no, but you go there with the intent of seeing, like I said, to see if this goes anywhere. If it doesn't in the first one, like I said, just say thank you for your time. Apparently, like I said, apparently this is what I was expecting, or I planned the day to plan to go. Sorry, guys, I'm yawning. But like I said, like I said, I didn't plan for the things to turn out this way this evening. So, I'll excuse myself and hopefully you have a nice day. That's how I would do it. And then I'm out. But like I said, what I'm curious about is every time you've ever had an interaction with the lady, did you go in with the intent to, like I said, just to smash, see what her synergy, like I said, to see what her synergy is like, you know, with the potential of an outcome, or did you go there simply just to chat it up? Because I don't simply go on dates to chat it up. Literally go there to literally see if this person, like I said, to know look to and to analyze this person, to see what their likes dislikes are, and you know like I said, I'm storing information whenever I'm doing it because I'm at a computer, but I'm processing things as she's explaining it to me for ideas, an idea for the date of what I'll do next if I find a peak in interest in her, or she found a peak in interest in me. So it also goes to, oh, hold on, I'm gonna let my man Primal in here.
Hey, 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 what's good, my brother?
How you doing?
Oh, good, good. Just getting back in from a road trip, so I apologize. I was kind of
Oh
running a little
no,
bit
no, no,
behind.
no, no, no. No, it's cool, man. You're cool. Like I said, I'm just doing I'm just doing a little topic session
He's
tonight
taking her
before.
out and to
Yeah.
some nice expensive places.
Sorry
He's
about
taking
that.
her
Go ahead.
out on.
No, it's fine.
All right, cool,
But
cool.
yeah, like I said, I'm just doing a little topic tonight. Pre-Thanksgiving little stream real quick. It's not gonna be long. It's gonna be like probably like an hour or maybe
Nice.
like get to two, if anything. But I'll vote. But I put this topic up specifically because it was running on my mind for a while, at least when I was at work, and I said, does love matter in a relationship?
Woo!
And I actually
That's a
and
heavy
actually
one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask certain cats that have been in relationships in order to give me some their little experience of what they think.
Yeah. I guess. Do you want me to jump in there, or do you want to give a little more color, or what you thinking?
I've said a few things, but I'm gonna lay some info down because I don't want you to just come in like you just got to say something. So
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
just give you context. So so when I say does love matter relationship, I'm saying it. Do you go in a date with the potential of loving somebody whenever you two have done the dating process? And here's what I mean by that. I mean, again, have you guys actually taken the time to actually found interest in one another that piques you in the other? Is it, like I said, is it just superficial, or is it like I actually rhyme? Rhyme. Funny how that said rhyme. Do you guys actually vibe, and are your synergy levels the same? Now, granted, I don't think anyone's energy level is the same, but I think someone's your wavelengths could be very compatible with the way that you think and the way that you interact. So so if those actually connect, then that can spark something, and that's where it starts. Because I've always said the first date is always the interview. That's how I've always gone by it, and how I do that whenever women I've been with in dates and stuff. I literally sit there and I'm actually not picking her brain. I'm actually analyzing her. I'm critiquing her. I'm paying attention to all the things that she says, but also trying to get to know the person. So I'm technically doing two things there. I'm not trying to overcompliment her. I don't overcompliment anybody, any of my dates. I don't ever do that. I say maybe one or two things, and then that's the end of that. Um, to let her know that I have a similar interest in her. But like I said, I don't go to dates just to chat it up. I literally go there to actually, I'm literally interviewing you and you're interviewing me, and we're seeing if this could potentially go anywhere. So that's a little bit of context I'm giving you right there.
Sorry, it helps if I turn my thing back on off of mute there. Yeah, I like what you're saying, and I think it's very relative to where you are in the dating process, right? So certainly, first date, first couple dates, first couple weeks, first couple month or two, whatever. I feel like you're trying to just get an idea of who that person is, and I think this goes with friends, this goes with romantic partners, this goes with people in your life, business partners, whatever. There's a vetting process that has to occur, and my dogs are barking in the background. Apologies.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I got family
yeah,
here too, so it don't
yeah,
matter. Go ahead.
but yeah, so I think that takes a while, and to do it properly, it takes a long while. Do I go into, hey, I'm going to meet somebody out for the first time, like, hey, let's go get drinks? Okay, cool. Do I go in thinking that love is on the table? It's not really on the top of my mind, right? I'm trying to figure out if I even like this person, right?
Yeah.
So just because I saw somebody on a dating app or I met somebody out and about and we exchanged numbers or whatever that is, like, okay, yeah, I thought they were attractive. Otherwise I wouldn't even be going on the date with them, right? But is love on my mind? I don't know. I mean, I think, generally speaking, I think people are oftentimes too quick to put a love label on a relationship, because I'll hear, and maybe it's a generational thing, maybe it's just the way I was raised. I don't know, but I feel like some people, they're throwing out "I love yous" after like a couple weeks or a couple months. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. The thing is, a lot of my experience in high school, I'm like, because realize that's all puppy love, and I don't really consider that real love. I think that we just generally like each other probably a little bit more than normal. But when it comes to like when you get older, like college, and then like where you are to adult level, it's like I do not see love I do not see love like I did in high school. That's completely different. I'm actually trying to get to know you, like vet you. You're vetting me in a sense to see, like I said, if we connect. But also, I guess, like I said, we'd have to be dating for like about 6 months, honestly, around that time. And I think I'll say this, if we're like past month 2 to 3, then obviously I care a great deal about you. I've discovered something that I like about you, and at the same time, you discover something that you like about me in a sense. Maybe more things than I have.
Yeah.
Now I take that. I'm thinking in terms of like when you pass that little 6 month route, and then it ventures on to like, okay, I think can I see myself with this person now since we've been here 6 months. And it's like I guess when I'm thinking about it, I'm like not just critiquing it. I'm like literally thinking this woman has been an asset to me. She's never been a liability to me, and also she doesn't see me as like as a potential wallet. So how so like could this go into marriage, or should I better more to figure this out? I don't think, and I'll say this, I don't think that I need 5 years to figure that out. I don't think I need that 5 years. I'll be honest about that. I used to think that a lot. But no, you don't need, like I said, if you're questioning it all this time in 5 years, then I think you've just been wasting time. That's just
Yeah.
me. I think you're wasting time.
No, and I think that's fair. I think to vet somebody out properly, you could get a pretty decent idea within like a 2 to 3 year span. Like if you're considering marrying somebody, the general advice I'll give to a lot of people that ask me that question are, hey, date for a year, get engaged / live together for a year, and then maybe get married on somewhere between year number 2 to 3, maybe 4. Like if I was going to prescribe to somebody and I was going to be like taking it at my pace, I'd say, all right, date for a year, live together for a year, and be engaged for a year. So I guess at the start of year number 4, maybe you're considering getting married. But I would put that as a pretty decent minimum, because I think if you give somebody 3 years of your time, I think that you've given them quite a commitment of your time and energy and effort, and you've had an opportunity to kind of see some highs and some lows and see them for who they are. Because I think a lot of times people can put on a front for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Like how many times does somebody go into a job interview and they interview really, really, really well, and then they get the job, and then like 2 weeks later, 2 months later, whatever, they're like, how did this person end up with the job? They suck. They're terrible, right? Like, I mean, it happens all the time. So
Yeah.
I think, for the concepts of love and vetting for long-term relationships and marriage, it's a game of years, not months, and that's just my kind of personal take.
Okay.
And to your point, like, I mean, gosh, the long time I was in a serious relationship was my previous marriage, and that I don't know, 6 years ago. In that time, I've dated a lot of people, and there's maybe one or two that I kind of felt like I might love them, but I never had an overwhelming, oh yes, I know I'm in love with this person. And I think that
Mhm.
speaks to, it's pretty rare that you should be feeling an overwhelming love feeling. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I really, really, really liked a lot of these people, but did I love them? No. And that's okay.
Okay.
You don't have to love everybody. That's not like necessarily the gold standard of some relationship that you may be in for a matter of weeks or months or even sometimes years. Like, you don't necessarily have to love somebody to date them for a while. You can kind of figure that out as you go. And I think love, I guess this is a roundabout way of me saying it, is it takes you a long time to really figure out if you love somebody.
Right. Now, I did kind of start to seem a little wonky, and the
Mhm.
reason why I said within a marriage, love should be there. But normally I say, I guess, but I said in a relationship, I guess that's a little bit different. And the reason why I'm hearing you and hearing your argument, I actually even agree further with the subject because it's like I said, this isn't something that we can just get like just by meeting each other. We're gonna have to get to know each other. We're gonna have to like see what our lives are like. I guess more so. What are we willing to introduce to one another? The highs and lows, if there's any. Like, I'll be like, okay, so I'm good at dealing with the big things. Small things are things that I can work on. The things that I work on. You're probably good. I say you're probably good with the low things, but you're not so good with the big things. That's where that's where I counter that little problem right there. I'm not saying it's a problem, but I can counter that little speck. So, you know, the ins and outs of what
Mhm.
you would have. But also, like I said, everybody has an advantage for every partner that they pick, but also a weakness too. But also it also depends, are you comfortable with that weakness? Or are
Mhm.
you or more so, are you not okay with it? Me, like I said, I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind my significant other having a weakness or something that she couldn't do, as long as she like said, if I called it out and I'll let her know. But I guess that would be terms of like I want her to tell me that, but I'm like because I would tell her because that's where communication is key, and where you have to like let me know certain things. If I already know, I will tell you off rip. I don't want you to dangle it within your brain, waiting for you to tell me. But I guess people, I mean, there's a whole caveat that can say, well, you should let her reveal it to you. One hand I agree, and on the other hand I don't agree. And the reason why is because if I know, I'd rather have her not it dangling in her head so she explodes about it. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, yo, listen. I said, come sit down and talk with me right here. I know such and such is not working. You don't have to tell me. I already figured this out by the looks on your face and how you've been carrying yourself, and your mood is very different. So I've kind of noticed that. So that's how I kind of knew something was up based on the conversation we had previously. That's how I would nip that in the bud right then and there. And then she tells me what it is, and I'm like, okay, here's what we can do to fix that. But also that's me right there. What I just did, that's me caring and me loving you.
Yeah.
If I did not love or have any sense of caring for you, then I wouldn't care about your struggle
Mhm.
at all. I let you just wallow in it.
Yep.
But no, but I'm saying like because I heard the saying that the way we love is very different. I do agree with that in a sense. The thing is, we're not being like Walt Disney with it. The difference is we can actually be very straightforward with you and want to
Mhm.
actually and actually be communicate with you, sit you down and talk to you about the matter. We're not like I said, we're not gonna cuddle it, but we're gonna like literally talk about it. I'm like, okay, babe, this is what we're gonna do. Like I said, if you think you can if you think you can do it by yourself, I'll let you. But here, I'm offering a better solution right here, and because I've done the research on it and to see what we can do. If it works, like I said, just give this idea some thought. I'll let you think it over, and then come back to me and we'll nip it out.
Mhm.
That's how I would do that. But that's an
Yeah.
example of me loving and caring about you to show you that I love you because I'm actually caring about your plight.
Yeah,
So
no, that's big facts, and I think nowadays we've gotten into love seems like a very different concept now than maybe it was to my grandparents, right? Like the way my grandpa loved my grandma was different than the way that I loved somebody that I was romantically involved with, right? Like I feel like
yeah.
nowadays it's much more of a it's more about the feeling in the moment, and I felt like love a couple generations ago was more like, hey, this is the big vision of the big picture. And
Hmm.
there's going to be days maybe we don't even like each other, but we love each other. And this is what we're building for. And this is like the bigger picture thing. I think commonly in today's society, love has come down to, hey, I either feel really good about you or I don't. And if I don't feel really good about you, then I'm obviously not in love with you because I lost. How often does somebody say I fell out of love with them or we grew apart or something like that? I feel like, and maybe that's just me nostalgic for like the days of old a little bit, but I don't feel like I heard that talking point coming from grandmas of, well, I kind of fell out of love with your grandpa. Like it was like,
I've never
oh
heard that
yeah,
from my
whatever.
grandmother at all.
Yeah, I think there's like,
At
yeah, he did
all,
this or that, and it was annoying, but I loved him despite that, right? And I feel like
despite his
nowadays, yeah,
shortcomings. Yeah.
yeah, but nowadays the talking points a lot of times are, well, I fell out of love with this person because of this, this, and this, and I think that's just an interesting observation that I've had over the different generations of love, if you will. And then I guess here's the other question, and that I'll pose to the concept of love in relationships:
Hmm.
is love enough?
I'll
You
be
see what I
honest.
mean? You see what I mean?
No, no, no. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Because there's so many TV series that have touched up on this. Um, funny enough, and I hate to bring it up, but I think that I find this one very intriguing, despite what it's called. It's called For Better or Worse from Tyler Perry series.
Hmm.
And Michael J. White, one of the biggest alpha males we've ever known in freaking cinema. He's like a pretty much a Chad and Tyrone, how he
Hmm.
is. But how he like he's a businessman, how he conducts himself in that show, how he's the married man with the loudmouth wife, even though he loves her, but all the bad and playing around they did in their past, and it's like it always comes back to bite them. And then that's why I see why you titled it Better or for Worse. And
Hmm.
certain things in the revelations are coming back, and it's like trying to romanticize marriage's work. If you guys can get past it, then your love is that strong. But I don't think it's just love. I think it's the ability to know the shortcomings of your partner, but also to know that you got to fight for it.
Hmm.
Rebecca Barrett, she's a YouTuber. She's a former feminist, and now happy married woman because she's masculine or feminine. She flat out said, well, one of her lines, she said, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but she had said something along the lines of, no, none of these ladies, I remember just now, none of these ladies are willing to fight for their marriage.
Hmm.
That's what she's tend to notice
Yeah.
with the modern day lady. None of them are willing to fight for their marriage. And I'm not saying there are some that do and don't, but not to the degree that your grandmother did. The
Hmm.
difference is that I think the difference is what our grandparents. Before I get on that topic, I'll talk about our grandparents right now. My grandmother was able to remain traditional right now currently, even though I said shout out to my grandfather. He passed away this year, like 3 months ago. Um, and she had kept doing what she was raised to be a wife. She kept herself healthy. She kept she drank water. She did exercising. She never yelled, and she never overtalked her husband, not one time. And she summer schooled me, her grandson, around the summertime because that's how I learned so much. But also the frame that I got was that's a traditional woman. This is the last of that generation. He's a traditional man. Now this time, by the time they're old, but they're retired, but also he did all the work and he did his pension, his retirement. and all them for them to have this house. But the thing is, they both did work, and also to understand one another. Um, they were both raised to be what they were both raised to be. So I think that love came. I think this is how it went. I think they generally had an interest in liking each other at first. That like turned into love as they married one another throughout the years. That's how I would say. Because I know what you're saying when you said it's different,
Mhm.
in their time as opposed to the time they were in now. Because like I said, I got exactly what you said, Parma, when you said that. I'm like, I know it is vastly different from what it was then to what it is now.
Mhm.
And it's and like I said, because people aren't computing it the same way than it was when it was like 50, I would say 50, when it was decades ago. That's
Mhm.
because I think we're in a time now of like you said, the moment.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
I
and
said, we're
and
feeling it for the
I,
moment.
and I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I want everybody to go out into the world and live the life that makes them the most happy. But
Hmm.
I will say, if you are, let's just say you're with somebody and you're questioning whether or not you want to be with them, and you're questioning if you love them or not. Think about the time that you've invested. Think about what you've built together, and strongly consider that. And I'm not saying that sometimes there is a time to end a relationship when it's not working, but um, the grass isn't always greener out on the other side, right? Like sometimes the grass is greener where you water it. I'm not
Yeah.
quoting that exactly perfectly, but there's something to that effect of like relationships take a lot of work, and you can make them good if you have the right people in the right places. And I think part of that is vetting properly and finding some of those core values and characteristics that are aligned and in the same space. And even if you do separate, you separate from a place of love for each other, and
Right.
you can go and wish each other well and both go on to have further success in your life in both relationships and other ventures as well. Um,
Right.
because God, I see so many people just, you know, like you can love somebody and still end the relationship, right? I mean, sometimes that's also the way it works is you look at it objectively and you say, okay, I know I love you, I know you love me, but us together, we don't work out very well and we're both very unhappy. We've both tried to change things aren't getting better. We've given
Yeah.
it time, not just a matter of like weeks or months, but hey, we've tried to make changes over a period of years. It's not getting better. I want you to be happy. I want to be happy. We should probably part ways and part ways with love. And that's kind of sometimes evolution of love too, right? Is like sometimes you love somebody enough to tell them it's okay to go your own way too. Like, I don't know. Sometimes people are meant to walk with you on your journey for a short period of time, and other times people are meant to walk with you for your whole life. And then there's all sorts of people in between, right? So it's just
Hmm.
I say always treat everybody with love as much as you can. And there's different types of love, right? There's love you have for your friends, there's love you have for your family and your children, and then there's love you have for a romantic partner. So when we talk about is love enough, well, it depends on what kind of love, and it depends on where you are in your life, and it depends where that person is in their life. And there's so many variables to what does it mean to love somebody. And then like we were kind of just saying, there's different ways to show love too. And sometimes, unfortunately, the biggest sign of love can be to let somebody go if you know it's not gonna go well. So
Yeah.
it's just there's so much to that question of kind of what is love? Is love enough? And it's a deep topic. I mean, it's really, really, really deep.
Yeah. And like I said, I appreciate you for saying that statement. You're preaching right now, and you said a lot of gems in what you just said. I think first of all, I think you said it. Loving somebody can just be letting that person go. I think that shows maturity. Number one, it means that you understand, but you're not a child to think like, no, I don't want this to end and stuff like that. I'm going for man or woman whenever I say that,
Hmm.
but I think most of us men do know we're willing to let that person go, because we had never created. I'll say this: we learned a lot from me and one another, but we just weren't syncing together. And I think, and I'll say this outside of marriage, but like if it was a marriage type thing, and we had kids, that's different. Because I'll be honest, I think we love. I would say this. I think it's just me. This is my thought process.
Go for it.
I love my wife even 10 times more if I had a kid with her. Because me and her, because how the story will be, you have to explain it to your kids when they're out in the world. You know, how did that come to be? You know, when they ask me, and I would tell them this: you, mine, and your mother's love created you. That's kind of like the way we water it down, but technically that is the truth. Our love for each other created you. Know that you were born from that love from the both of us, and that we love you as a result of that. Like, because without that, we couldn't have created you. Now, technically, that's technically playing. Let's be real, it's playing on the birds and bees thing. But the way I see it, I think it's half truth and half, half a little false. But the thing is, our love technically did create you in a sense. Because if me and her didn't love each other, we wouldn't be able to create you. I'll be honest about that. I
Yeah,
think I think I
that's
think
facts.
there's some
That's
I think there's
facts.
some truth in that statement. That's what I would say.
Yeah, because I mean, let's in today's world, there's a lot of options to not have a child if you don't want to, right?
Hmm.
And so the thought process, generally speaking, is you would assume that if two people are going to go ahead forward with having a kid together, that hopefully they love each other, right? I mean, that's
Right.
a pretty. I feel like that's should be a safe statement. Now, is there maybe a little bit of pushback on that sometimes? Sure, whatever. But if you go forward with having a child with somebody, God, I hope you love them, because if you don't, what are you doing? Like that's crazy to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's interesting because, and to your I mean, kind of circle back a little bit, but like when you're talking about do you love somebody and talking about the family aspect, is another big component of do you love somebody and do you fit together is what is their family like? What, like, if you're a lady, what's his family like? If you're a guy, what's his family like? And then
Right.
do they like you? Do you like them? Because I would say hopefully their family is also a big part of their life. So if you don't like your to be mother in law, I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a negative. I'm not saying it's going to be negative enough for you
Yeah.
to not want to be with this person, but that's going to be something that is an issue. Or if you really, really, really like that person's family, that's going to be a big, huge bonus, right? And that's something that you
It
factor
will.
into your overall decision process. Um, like my ex-wife and I still hang out with my ex-father-in-law fairly regularly. Like he's an amazing man, and I like just spending time with him. And that was a huge bonus opposed to, oh God, I really don't like my father-in-law, right? So there's
Right.
so many factors of, all right, hey, do I maybe love this person? Yeah. Okay, now what's their family like? And what was their upbringing like? And is it just so multifaceted and such a complex thing for something that sometimes nowadays people are just very nilly-willy with of, yep, oh, I love you, babe. Oh, well, I've known you 2 weeks now. Great, thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, no, I don't love you. I'll be honest, I don't. I'm still getting to know you. Some things I rock with you, and some things I don't rock with. I'll be very
Ooh.
truthful
And,
about
and
that.
that's an interesting thing. So I'll pick your brain on this one. What do you
Okay.
do, or what have you done in situations where, let's say you were dating somebody for a shorter period of time, let's say several weeks to several months, and they hit you
Mhm.
with, I love you.
Okay.
Isn't that an interesting conundrum, right? Because you don't,
Yeah.
you obviously you probably like this person because you've been dating them for several weeks to several months. And then they just laid it out on the line there for you to say, hey, I love you. And then you're kind of like, shit. Because
Yeah.
on
Right.
one hand, you want to make them feel good, right? And you want to say, you part of your instinct would be to say, well, I love you too. Like that would be part of the instinct to make them feel good. But on the other hand, you don't want to give them some false information, and you don't want to play
Hmm.
them. So, but if you don't tell them you love them, then are you kind of degrading the relationship? And they say, well, I told you I love you and you didn't say anything back, so what does that mean? And like, so I'm curious, have you ever found yourself in that situation where a woman's,
I have plenty of
and
time,
they
sir.
said I love you, or I love you. Well, and then there's the whole I love ya versus I love you. And funny how like a little letter difference can make such a big difference. But
I
I'm
figured
just
that
curious.
out later
Yeah,
on
yeah. But
with
let me
ya
know.
and
I'm
then
curious.
ye.
I'm curious as your thoughts of somebody giving you the I love you, and honestly, you're not ready for it. Like, how did that go for you?
Okay, I can say, oh man, there like too many times. I'm thinking like that's like 2 to 3 where it happened out of the 5 women that I've dated in my life, and
And it always comes, well, I shouldn't say always
mm,
comes, but I've noticed it usually comes when you're laying in bed and you probably just had a really good time together and
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of good feelings going on. And then something like that gets tossed out. And then you're kind of, literally they caught you with your pants down, right? So
Right.
then, I mean, that I'm just saying that's a situation that I may or may have not been a part of a few times.
No. I'll tell you this right now. I've had that happen to me. Like out of the 5, one of them did that to me. Funny enough that you bring it up, Matt, because you're kind of a genius right now. Like just low key reading my mind. I'm like, yeah, that did happen one time. Um, so she, it was right when I was out of like I guess like fresh out of college, and I had met her at a cafe before, coffee cafe, and we had just I guess hooked up this one time because we're both artists. I drew and she drew, and she liked some of my artwork, and I guess that's how we kind of clicked. Every once in a while, we had our first date, and then after that, she wanted to actually have sex on the first date. So, I wasn't against that, but after the freaking moonshine happened, it wa- pretty much like I guess like 10 minutes after it happened, she said, yo, I think I actually kind of love you. Okay. And the thing is, and see, like I said, and the thing is, this is one of those things that men have to like be so careful with because we don't want to hurt her feelings, but at the same time, we don't want to lie to you. At this point, I was done lying to people. I'm talking about like, my parents had put me on straight after I got out, after once I went into college, I started changing and started like telling the truth. And I'm like, I cannot lie anymore. I'm done with that. So I flat out told her there's some things in you that I like, but I'm I don't think I'm at that point yet. Like we just met each other. So there's some things about you that I like, and I'm pretty sure I could. I'm not okay. I can't say I'm pretty sure, but I said I'm sure if we kept, having roundabout dates, getting to know, pick each other's brain out, I could actually not learn, but actually probably love you. But I cannot say 100% factual that I will love you. That would be a lie on my part and a falsification, is what I told her. I spoke
And
to her
what,
like I
and
was
what was that reaction? How did that get reacted to?
her. Okay, funny enough, she didn't blow up. Um,
Good.
she was she was very whimsical with how she like she actually gave me a straight face. She actually says thank and she said that's a that's a shame. But I understand. And because I kind of have like she said I kind of like have this habit of like guys I really really like I tend to say that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like I'm almost testing them. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like and it's like at this point I was actually good at reading girls. At this point, I think after I graduated college, I was really good at reading girls as opposed to like high school. So I kind of got an idea of of what she was coming from when she said that, of why she actually said it. But
And here's
she
here's
she
here's
was
my
just very
little
calm about it.
yeah, and
Go ahead.
here's my little bit of insight about that. She wasn't lying to you. In that
Hmm.
moment, she loved you. But I feel like that a lot of ladies love is kind of this roller coaster ride for a lot of them. Sometimes they're like super in love with somebody, and then sometimes they're not so sure about it. And I feel like, and this is just my personal experience and my take on it, but I feel like generally speaking in relationships, men kind of have this like, hey, I kind of like you, and I love you. It's kind of this, oh, I'm off screen here, but it's kind of like this slow incline and build up, and then it kind of stays, hey, I love you. Like you consistently just love them. And you're like, once you
Right.
get to this point, it's kind of like, okay, hey, I came up and now I love you. I feel like women a little bit more times, they'll do kind of this like bit of, oh, I feel super good about this person. I love him. Oh, right now I don't like him. Oh, I love him again. Oh, I don't like him again. Like, I feel like it's a little bit more roller coastery with their emotional response to whatever's happening in that moment. Whereas I feel like a lot of men are more of a slow incline and then kind of just a steady state. Like, you can't really, their feelings of love don't really change super easily. Like, once they love somebody, they just kind of love somebody. Whereas I feel like, at least in my experience, there's a lot of ladies that will kind of be quick to fall in love with you, but they're also kind of quick to fall out of love with you. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that little piece. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in there with that and offer that up.
No, thank you for that, Primer. Like I said, you're spending a lot of knowledge, but also, like I said, you're asking me questions. I guess, like I said, I'm taking them a little bit more seriously than I do with some of my guy friends. And I know we're like a bunch of theologians. We talk about a bunch of real stuff, and it's like, whenever we have like serious conversations like this, I've always like different perspectives on people on the matter because they can give me a different insight that I would not have thought otherwise. And with, like I said about the girl who was an artist and everything, amazing girl. She's like I said, she seemed like a girl that was very like one with her art, but also she had a really good heart for the most part, and not I don't want to manipulate that. Personally, I didn't want to. I could have, but I did not.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't. The reason why I didn't is because, like I said, I was not at the point in my life where that high school stuff, that high school mentality is gone. Once you like, I'll say this. Once certain boys go become men as soon as they get out of college, I think you are very different than when the person you went up, because I always said that there's no eternal growth within you, changing you, but also making you really articulate things differently from when you went in. Then you didn't do your job, simply just getting your degree. I think you should also take in what you learned, but let it cultivate and marinate your brain to think about like all these these social interactions that you have with people, because it's only going to forward you more. In the case of the girl that I talked about, like I said, I'll be honest, I have nothing to say ill will of the girls that I've been with. I think they were all genuinely nice people. I have no contention of hate for any of them.
And that's a
I'll be honest,
beautiful thing.
I
Like,
have, yeah, exactly. I haven't had like one bone of hatred for any of them. I'm like, one wasn't good at something, but at the same time, I'm not gonna hound her about it.
mhm.
And granted, not granted, none of them acted unladylike. That's the
and
crazy thing. That's why I have nothing bad to say about them. Like they actually, generally nice ladies. Some of them have maybe a few issues than others, but the thing is, none of them are like something bad I would ever talk about. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna talk anything about them.
yeah,
So
as it
yeah.
should be, hopefully, right? Because hopefully
Hmm.
we're mature adults, and even if something isn't working, it's mature enough to identify that it's not working, have a reasonable conversation with somebody, and send them on their way with love. There's only been a couple
Right.
of times where there's people that I kind of would not be willing to welcome back into my life in some form or fashion. Am I saying there's an open door on like us having a relationship again? No, not necessarily. But could I talk to you and have a reasonable conversation? And hey, how are you? Good to see you. Good to catch up with
Hmm.
you. I hope you're doing well. That sort of thing? Absolutely. For like 99% of them. I feel like it's the times that people deceive you that you kind of shut that door on some of those people and say, you know
Yeah.
what? All the best, but don't come into my life again. But hopefully, if you're dealing with the right people, those kind of circumstances are rare, right? So,
Yeah. It's like I said, it's always gonna be that point of contention of like, if she tells you that she loves you, how you gonna respond back? But
mhm.
also, like I said, high school, I don't really count that. Like I say, because
Well, yeah. I mean,
sometimes because I think that's just puppy love that can grow into adult love later on. But
and you
I don't
don't
think
know
either
any
of you,
better at that point.
I
You
don't
don't
think either
know
of you
any
know.
better. Yeah,
You
you
don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah, you
You don't
don't know
know.
what you don't
You're
even
just going
know,
with the
right? Yeah.
flow.
Yep.
Exactly. You're just going with the flow. That's what I did, guys.
Hmm.
I didn't know anything at the time. I just like I'm just like I'm an athlete. I'm a track runner, and I'm a guy on the swim team. So it's just kind of
Hmm.
like no. So I'm like I just happen to be in a position in order to like attract the eyes of certain women. But the difference was I was not thinking like how I think now. I was not thinking that at all. I'll be truthful about that. I was not thinking at all about any of that. I thought it was nice for what it was at the time. But like I said, that's that Walt Disney mindset. That you said you can even get them boys too. When you think you're like when you think I'm like, no, this isn't love, dude. Don't get it twisted. This is anything like this. Your
Yep.
fathers and your uncles have told you better. This is
Yep.
just what comes with being a guy when you get older. Or like where how your my bad your start off point to transitioning to your end point into manhood.
No,
Because
that's facts,
that's
man. That's
something.
facts.
Yeah, because you have to really look at that and really think like, well, your parents have told you better not say that to that girl because you don't know what love is yet. Your parents are actually right. They're not actually, they are right
Yep.
because you do not know. And I think and I'll say this, I think their aspect of love comes from the traditional ways. Because I'm a '91 kid, and I know anybody like who thinks of the old school ways, it would be through the marriage of when like the love is like when the union is when the union is formed, and throughout the years of them cultivating that, from them dating to them getting married to where they are now, and in bliss. That's the love right there. I think that the best way to describe it for that. But I've always said in a marriage, I think love does matter because I think if there's no love there, then it's just a contract. Then you're just saying hi. Like to me, you're just another person. You're just saying hi. How you doing this morning?
Business deal.
It's not
It's a
like
business deal,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly. It's a business. Like I said, it's a contract and a business deal. That's why sometimes with they talk about high value and things like that. I understand why those men look at it that way. But I guess for me it's just like, listen, if this is my partner, I mean my partner. But like I said, this is my significant other, it's my significant other. I'm not gonna treat her like she's like actually a part of a letter or like a freaking deal that we've like written up together. So I'm not gonna like really worry about that. I think I'm like I said, when I married her because I loved her at that point. But also she loved me at the same time, and she was willing to show me there are things that we love about each other to help us get by in the end. Especially create an environmental place for our kids, because
Yeah.
technically I'll be honest, we love them as soon as we marry them. That love cultivation after years of us being intimate with one another, and then once the kids come out, we technically love our wife even more. But I'll be honest, that's where the extra work, like not just love. When you said, I'm gonna go back to the question, you said, is love enough? No, it's not. It's not enough. Love, hard work, sacrifice, precision, planning, and union. Those
And
are the 7 things that I would say that matter within that point.
in crazy
Make it work.
times, and you know what? Here's the other thing: is life is never going to go like you think it is. And
Never.
even if you do all of that, even if you have all of that, I hope it's enough. But maybe it's still not. And
Right.
but if it's not, always treat somebody with love, because if you always treat somebody with love, then you have done your piece and you will have some sort of goodwill for that person, right? So life, I'll put it this way: you can, if you write down your plans and 5 years from now you go back and look at it, you're really like, and that shit didn't work out like I thought it was going to work out, right? And you kind of, sometimes you just grow and you evolve and you change, and things in your life do not play out the way like you think they will, and that's okay. That's all part of the journey. But you always try to treat the people in your life with love.
I think you should do that too. And I think the people who are the closest and nearest dear to you, like my mother and father, I treat them with love. My brother, my Puerto Rican brother, I treat him with love. And it's very like in my other, like some other 2 brothers, I treat them with love. And my best friend who I've like literally made a sister, like as I see her as a sister. Technically, I have friends under her in that mindset of what they want to call it, but that's actually my sister. That's family to me, her and her sister. So those are the people I normally care for. It's like anybody outside that, it's kind of like it's not fu on sight. It's kind of more so like I don't I don't you know I'll talk to you, but that's about as far as it can go. But when you began the conversation that I have, I'm not gonna have a conversation I have with them that I have with you. That's just not gonna happen.
Yep, and that's
Because,
fair.
like I said,
Right?
you're very different. Yeah, that's very fair. Like, problem. You're not gonna talk to me like how you would talk to your kids. That's just not gonna happen. We know
It's
that.
just different levels, right?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
levels to everything in life, and that's just one of those things. And there's there's a way the love you have for your children. There's the love you have for your friends. There's the love you have for your parents. There's the love you have for your romantic partner. There's all sorts of different kinds of love. And I think just being able to recognize that there's a lot of different ways to love people. And, and
people have
it's
to
not
understand that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, hey man, and, I gotta bounce here in a little bit because I have some company coming over, but this was a lot of fun. Yep, and I really appreciate this. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, man. Like I said, your perspective, your perspective matters to me. Like yours, Marcus, CJ, like all you guys have different thought processes, but a lot of you guys have a lot of different ideas and how you would go about things. And like I said, that matters to me because, like I said, I don't like echo chambers for nothing. I actually like people who can actually think on their own, but also cultivate some ideas from their past experience. To come with a different statement.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, my man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on. I look forward to when's your next? When do you think you're going to stream next?
Probably do. Maybe next week I'm gonna probably do another one. Because I think the next topic we'll probably do. Let me see. It probably won't be another relationship one. I guess probably we'll talk about our childhood on that one. How I guess like how our child like I think it'll be titled "How Our Childhood Has Shaped Us." Into the person that it is, or it'll be titled like "Was Our Childhood growing up process enough for us to be who we are now?" It'll be something similar to that lines because I don't think there's anybody who's ever touched up on that, like how a child grows up or like how your experiences made you who you are. Because
I like that's that
something
a lot.
That's something we could literally make that a 2 hour literally
talking about you could talk all day about that.
Yeah, about that, man, because you could say like, this influenced me right here. The guy around the guy who owned the ice cream store, he actually gave me some. Dude, like we can talk about like hours about that one, but that's why I'm gonna try to get Marcus in that one too, because I know he has some things that he wants to talk about because I've been having chats with him.
Yeah, that dude's lived some life.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, I look forward to that. I appreciate it.
Oh, definitely, Primal. Like I said, thanks for joining, man. I know you got some company in. I already got company here in general, but I just wanted to do like a little topic real quick, before we get stuffed up tomorrow, before you do your stream, because I'm definitely gonna try my best to make that. I can't eat too much though.
Don't eat too much because you'll fall asleep.
Because I want to join your stream so that
that'll be good, man. I'm looking forward to that because I want to hear different people's thoughts on the vetting process. That was the one that was brought up by a couple people in the channel last time. Right. And they want to talk through the vetting process and what if you get fooled on the vetting process, right? So. Right. That's the discussion for tomorrow. So I appreciate it, man. I'll hop out of here. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. You be well, sir. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. I am going to react to Jordan Peterson basically a Jordan Peterson video with advice for strong relationships, and we're gonna just, and then after that we're gonna call it a night. All right, hold on. Let's see. Was it Chrome tab? That's the one. All right, let's get to it.
Pay more attention, or you tell a rambling story and you notice that everyone's like he is well structured.
Do you think that's realistic or fair to have a strong and meaningful and lasting relationship with someone?
Well, the first thing is to decide if that is really what you want.
Is that fair, do you think, to say I want to be single forever? Do you think that's realistic or fair assessment of oneself?
I think that's for most people a pathway to insanity.
Yeah.
The psychoanalysts used to think that, and we all think this way in some ways, that you're sane because you're well put together. In your psyche is well structured, right? It's internal, somehow inside your head. But and there's some truth in that. But here's a more accurate viewpoint, I think. You outsource most of your sanity because it's too complicated. And so what you do is your parents raise you to be vaguely acceptable to other people. And then you're surrounded by other people your whole life. And then every time you go off the rails a little bit, even just a little bit, people signal to you.
All right, guys, to pause that for a second. I'm gonna get back to it in a second. But when at the beginning of what he said, when the guy's interviewing Peterson, he's literally asking him, do people who, I can just be alone forever, blah blah blah. And Peterson responds, well, that's a path to insanity. I think he's actually correct in that sense because being, like I said, one of the most dangerous things, or like one of the most unhealthy things that we've noticed is a person who's really alone, who's depressed, just dealing with, not having anybody within their circle or whatsoever, is prone to destroying themselves. Literally kind of go down a road of suicide. And like I said, it can lead to things like that if there's just loneliness. And it's a theme that's been touched on in certain medias a lot, where this person say that they don't, they weren't treated the best, but they prefer to be alone. But also, when they choose to be alone, they wallow in they choose to wallow in self a misery and depression, and it's never like a pretty sight. So I do agree, especially now in our time and age that we're in now, that a lot of people are just like on antidepressant, or they're like on any type of medication that literally stops them from, being in such a down, depressing mood. And and on one hand, I I understand why it's being used, why the medication is used for that, because they don't want to feel bad anymore. People generally do not want to feel bad. But let's get back to the video.
Like you make a joke, it's not that funny, and people don't laugh, and you think, oh well, I should probably rethink my sense of humor a little bit, or pay more attention. Or you tell a rambling story and you notice that everyone's like lost in the distance. And
Right.
so if you're civilized enough so that people don't shun you, and you have people around you, then they're going to be always telling you how to not be too insane.
Mm.
Well, if you're alone, you drift.
Right.
You drift,
Right.
and you'll drift in the direction of your biggest weakness.
Mm.
And so, there are some people, maybe they're introverted and disagreeable. They're not cut out for a lot of social contact. But we're social animals, man, right to the core.
Sure.
And it's a
True.
suboptimal solution for the vast majority of people.
Mhm.
I think that people are having a harder time finding, like, let's call them more permanent relationships, is because it's become increasingly easy to have fleeting, casual sexual relationships. I mean, Tinder is a revolution, right? It's a revolution in sexual behavior, and it's certainly not obvious that it.
All right, guys, let's pause that right there. All right. So when he's talking about, like, the new the new age that we are in now, this hookup, quote unquote, hookup culture that we have, it's very predicated on the sense of, like, there's no need for relationships. These are situationships where people can just go out and have sex and whoever they want now. There's no there's really no need to, like, even, really socialize all like that. We can just go out, and just smash or whatever. And there's some people who are probably looking for a social relationship, and some people who are looking for a actual relationship, and someone who doesn't, yeah, someone who's just looking for a physical relationship. Sorry, guys, I'm speaking quicker. But that's what I said. That's really what it's coming down to. And there are repercussions for all that, and like the repercussions are like, or what kind of like we have going now, where people are just not satisfied with anything. So I would say that I agree with Peterson. I actually agree with Peterson on the hookup part that we're on. Um, I can't remember if there's another point that particularly that I agreed with, but I guess, oh, okay. We're very social creatures. Yes, we are. That, like, I don't think there's been a day where I could or could not talk to somebody, but if I do, I always talk to people within my circle. So yes, humans are naturally do not, like I said, naturally want to be off-putting and talk to everyone, but they like to socialize as a race. We do that a lot. We tend to do that a lot. So yes, let's get back to the video.
It's a
Is
one
it
that's
is it a social thing? Is it just technology? Is this what people want to be doing? Because you think the fleeting,
easier
yeah,
in some ways.
but the technology has enabled this fleeting sexual
Oh,
activity.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And that's,
But
we don't want to underestimate how radical a technology that is.
Right.
That's especially for men.
I do feel that deep down that all these people, men and women alike, are always longing for something more meaningful.
Well, I think that that's generally the case. I mean, you know, part of the reason for a relationship is sexual contact, obviously. Well,
Mhm.
that's that you don't necessarily need a relationship for that. But that's not the reason to be with someone. The reason to be with someone when there's a lot of them. So one is, well, kids who have two parents do far better. Period. The data on that is crystal clear. It doesn't mean that there aren't many single parents who struggle to do a wonderful job. Right?
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. It's an average issue. So you need, plus, it's a lot of work to have kids. You know, you kind of need to divide up the labor,
Facts.
especially in the first year or
True
two, you know, because the
facts.
woman is completely overwhelmed in the first year and she needs somebody around to take care of her while she's taking care of the kid, fundamentally, or at least that's the way it looks to me. So there's that. You need the stable basis for children, and it takes them a long time to mature, and they need to learn that relationships are trustworthy, right?
Mm.
So there's utility and stability there. But then also, you kind of want to tangle your life together with someone, you know, because you have someone to, well, it's like two ropes that are tangled together. It's stronger, especially during times of weakness. And you have
Union.
two brains instead of one. And that actually turns out to be really helpful when
Sure.
things are
Mhm.
complicated. And it builds a solidity into your life and a reality into your life to have someone.
All right, let's pause it right there. So what? There's a whole lot in that statement that he said that I agree with, but I want to touch up on. Um, yes. So by the whole technology bit, yes, that's actually the gift and a curse of our era. Technology has benefited us in so many ways. It's like help. It's like it's used. Like I said, technology is basically quantum mechanics. Everything quantum mechanics runs technology, and like I said, it has helped us. Yeah, yeah, Nate. It has helped us. GPS things that was a lot harder in the past because they didn't have this. So that's why like I said, it's just more convenient use for us. And like I said, that's why, like I said, it's a gift, but also the curse aspect of it. People, like I said, people can literally rally something they don't like to something. You can use something that doesn't conform to the ideal and post it, and a lot of people will agree or disagree with it. That's fine, but also try to get up against something that's very subjective. And with some more often than not, sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. But it's like they'll use technology to ridicule somebody who hasn't even done a crime, and then all of a sudden they'll just run with it. Yeah, people who post the people who post it and people who respond to it more often than not will just jump on the bandwagon like yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like nonsense. When there's nothing to substantiate that, it's just silly on that. Um, I'll touch the last two things he says once, because like I said, I won't go through the whole thing, but we're gonna go a couple more minutes into it, and then I'll end the stream.
Who's along with you on this very long voyage. And so I think that deepens your life in a way that isn't really possible with fragmentary relationships as a single person.
Definitely.
And then there's more to it than that. It's like, I think of wrestling. There's this scene in the Old Testament where Jacob wrestles with an angel. He's wrestling with God, actually, which is quite an interesting. That's what Israel means, right? Wrestling with God.
Mm.
Yeah, that just blew me away when I learned it. It's so
Is that true?
The true people of
Hebrew?
Israel are those who wrestle with God.
Huh.
Wrestle
Yeah,
with
it's
God.
not believe exactly. It's a
Hmm.
whole different thing, man. It's a whole different thing. And
Isn't
so
it like fear from God? what it means? That's what I thought.
Well, it did from the work I did in the last couple of months looking at this, and I looked into it quite deeply. It does mean wrestling essentially, and it does derive from that scene in the Old Testament where Jacob wrestles with God. That's when he gets the name Israel. And his hip is dislocated, right? Permanently. He has a permanent limp after that. It's no joke. But I think of marriage the same way. Like people think, well, they lived happily ever after. It's like, that's not what you want in a marriage.
Yeah.
You want someone to contend with, because you learn through that wrestling,
Sure.
like you learn where you're an idiot and where you should stop being, and vice versa. So that's the spiritual aspect of marriage. It's the fact that you have to contend with someone under all sorts of circumstances. Theoretically, is what would you say? It's a manner of promoting psychological, or you could say spiritual growth, and it's genuine. That's why marriage is a sacrament in most human communities, right? It's stamped both by the state and by the sacred authorities, because it's not just a physiological union. That's what animals do. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with the physiological union, but it has to be placed in the context of everything else a human being is. And I do think it's dreadful for people not to have that. And
Do you think it's hard, it's become harder for people to have meaningful, lasting relationships, or has it always been this hard? I feel like I thank God that I'm not dating now, because I feel like it seems like it's miserable out there right now
well, it's
to
hard.
try to meet people.
It is hard although it's easier to meet people because there's more ways of meeting them.
Right.
But the ways of meeting them are more shallow. In my clinical practice, I would say that the rise of the internet dating option has actually overall been good for people who are looking for a partner. Now, there is some speculation and some evidence that it lowers the transaction.
Okay, I'll end it right there. Okay, so the part where Peterson literally said, for the marriage bit, like I said, there's those two other things I want to touch upon, but let's get to the marriage bit first. Well, yes, a majority of America would love to be married. I would imagine, like I said, a majority of people would like to be married in this day and age, but about how the divorce rates are right now, for the men, and also, and not really benefiting men. I can understand why people would want, like, why the men wouldn't want to get married. Some people would, and some people wouldn't. For the ladies, so I'm pretty sure a majority of them want to be married, but also, the minority probably doesn't want to. The minority doesn't want to. So, like I said, I can see it on both sides when it comes to that. But I think a general consensus, most of us would like to be married, but there's too much BS in the BS in the courts laws of, there's no benefit to you in America to get married, because if you're a man, you, because it pretty much goes against you. But that's what my thought process on that is. I think, like I said, if like the legislation was changed in certain things, then people, yeah, a lot of people would be lining up to get married to make it, if they made it more fair. But this is America, so I don't know. I don't know where or when that would change. But yeah, why they would change it. Why they would, in their minds, they would think not to change it. But to touch up on at least the dating aspect, yes, the dating scene is a lot different than what it was around our grandparents' age. So that's something that's gonna have to only get better with time. Like I said, it'll get worse before it gets better. Um, because like I said, a lot of men don't know how to approach girls. A lot of men don't know how to interact. Don't and they honestly, because of, mass feminism too. I'm gonna throw this in there. This is my bit. I said they're very scared of interacting with ladies because any interaction you have with a woman, you have to be careful about how you talk, how you approach, how you literally come in, whether you have game or not. Just be careful with that, because she said she could just say something and they'll believe her. So You gotta be, like I said, you gotta be on your P's and Q's when it comes to that. I think there was something else I wanted to touch on, but when it came to that, but yeah. So I'm gonna end it here, guys. Um, you know, I'm gonna be on Primal Stream tomorrow night before I go to sleep. Hopefully, hopefully I haven't eaten so much I'm freaking knocked out by the itis. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully people like this, and put a lot, give it a like if you enjoyed it. Primal coming in, giving this thought process, be giving my thought thoughts on it. Um, yeah, have a good Thanksgiving. Party with the family, if you party, and be safe. Glory nights, and this has been Jay Takashi, and peace out.